Wait.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, we're good.
All right.
And we may have to edit the front of this thing, figure that out again.
You never know. It happens. And if you're watching this, you know what happens. But thanks for joining us. We're going to be talking with Frank McEnulty of the McEnulty Method. And he's going to help us, even me at my advanced age, take the steps that you need to take to start really on the road to financial freedom, so that you're not worried about every time some emergency is going to come up or whatever. It's anyway, Frank, I'm dying to know. So tell me, what is the secret to having a stable financial life?
Well, thanks, Bill. Before we get into that, I'd rather talk about a little bit about why we're doing this.
All right, I'd love that.
As you know, 5 or 6 years ago, I sort of left industry where I'd been involved in financial endeavors over the last 30, 40 years for various companies, CFO of companies, president of companies, things like that. Started teaching college, started teaching finance. And what I've found is that the students today, the younger people today, don't really have a good idea of how to deal with money, how to deal with their finances and things like that. And all of the experts out there in the world, they all want to deal with people like you and me who are at the end of our careers, who have money, who have assets they can manage, and they just ignore the younger people. No one's telling them how to get to where you can get so that people do want to deal with you. So I really felt that it'd be a good thing to talk to the younger part of the world about becoming financially savvy and independent.
Well, I have to tell you, I wish somebody had talked to me when I was in my 20s or even my 30s, frankly, even my 40s. I just kept thinking, that, hey, I got all the time in the world, it's going to happen. But again, unless you make it happen, it doesn't. And it helps to have someone tell you or show you what to do. So, Frank, with that in mind, what do we do?
Well, like with anything, all we can do is make suggestions, and it's up for people to follow them or not. But really, most things in life are very simple. And the first stage of this is spend less than you make. Right? I mean,
it sounds obvious, but I mean, it sounds obvious, sounds simple, but simple isn't always easy. So tell me more.
Well, it is obvious, it is simple, but it's not easy because there's always things you can spend your money on. Or you're young. Remember back to when you were young? You're never going to be this old. It's never going to happen. I'll spend the money now. I'll save it later. Even Jack Ma, the billionaire in China that has gotten himself in trouble with the Chinese authorities, this is how he built his company, by basically telling all the young people in China, spend it. Don't worry about it. You're young. Enjoy yourself. And of course, he was giving them the loans. He was giving them the credit to do it and taking a fee every time they spent it, every single penny. I know they don't use pennies over there, but every time they spent, he got a fee from everything they spent. And then he got a partial fee from the interest they had to pay on the debt.
Wow.
Well, it's all coming home to roost, and all these people are going, well, wait. I've got all this debt. I have nothing to show for it. What do I do now? And so Jack has found himself in a lot of trouble because the Chinese authorities are saying, this was a really bad idea. So we're going to try to talk about good ideas. there's no reason why, especially in this country, why people relatively decent living can't save money. It it basically becomes a mindset, and it starts out with little things. And I know, people that know me know my, one of my things is, Starbucks. It annoys me tremendously that people go to Starbucks every day and spend $5 on a cup of coffee. And it's like, sure, it's just $5, but it's just $25 a week. It's just $1,000 a year. It's just $40,000 over 40 years. That's a lot of coffee.
It is, yeah. It's, but, I guess it's that, oh, I deserve a little treat.
Well, yeah, I know that's the instant gratification of our society today. Everybody deserves a little treat. Everybody, but do you deserve it or do you want it? Did you do anything special to deserve a treat? You woke up, you got out of bed, you went to work. I mean,
Yeah, walked into Starbucks, yeah.
it's funny how everybody deserves everything nowadays. It's always a deserve this, deserve that. But it really, almost comes down to, what do you really want in life or out of life? Do you just want to live paycheck to paycheck every time, every month, every week? I mean, we all hear the stories, we all read the reports about how they say that, I don't know, 60% of Americans, if they missed one paycheck, they'd basically be bankrupt because they have no money saved up.
Wow.
To me, that's just tremendous stress. Why have that stress on you? And you may not notice it, may not really be there, but I'm sure most people, they go, oh crap, I'm out of money again. Even my sister, who's older than me, come the end of the month, she'll go, oh, we can't go out to eat. We have no money. It's the end of the month. We've run out of money. Well, that's no way to live.
Yeah. No, it's a bad feeling.
And so part of what I want to do is talk to people about the different things they can do to get to what everybody always wants, the retirement they deserve, or the retirement you want. And once again, okay, yeah, it's 40, 50 years away, but that's in the cosmos, that's a blink of an eye, and it goes by an incredible amount of time.
Yeah, and actually, like you were saying just a minute ago, if you have a little bit of a cushion, you don't have quite as much stress. In fact, you have a lot less stress. So I mean, it's not only great for your future, but it really makes a difference right now.
Well, it allows you to enjoy doing things that much more. Your friends say, okay, come on, let's go to Vegas. Oh, geez, I really don't have any money. Should I really do this? And they're, oh, come on. Don't worry about it. It's just money. And you go to Vegas. And the whole time though, in the back of your head, it's like, oh man, should I be spending this money? This is costing me. I'm putting this on the card. I'm going to have to pay this. It takes away the fun of everyday life, just always having that worry in the back of your head. Whereas, say you saved up a couple $100 and they said, let's go to Vegas. You say, great, I've got $200 in my goof off fund. Let's go spend it. And now you don't worry about it. Now I'm probably just aged myself and said, well, how can you go to Vegas for $200? But the theory is, it's easy. You can have a better time if you're not worried where the money's coming from than if you are worried about where the money's coming from.
No, definitely. And especially if you start taking those little steps on your life's journey and maybe get married, maybe you have a kid. It's kind of like, if you don't have a little bit of a cushion, trying to make a great Christmas for your kid, I don't know, it's hard. It can be heartbreaking.
It can be, and it also limits your options in the future. You're talking about getting married and having children. Well, what if you didn't want to have your child in daycare all the time? You wanted the husband or the wife to stay home and take care of the child. Well, that takes some planning. This is Southern California where we live. And how many people have the opportunity to do that? Very few. I was fortunate that I was able to do that with our family. My wife was able to stay home and take care of the kids, which I thought was better but we gave up a lot. Everything is a give and take. You can't have everything in spite of what they tell you. You have to have what you really want, and that's how you become happy. Some people don't want to stay home and take care of their own children. Okay, great. Maybe they shouldn't take care of their own children. But at the same time, those that want to should have the opportunity, and they have to plan for that.
Yeah. And and again, as you're saying, if you're planning for that, if you're making a little bit of a cushion, or, just having emergency funds, so that when, like I always think about a car, because when your car breaks down, especially in Southern California, you're in trouble. And if they turn around and say, it's going to be $4,000, like, yikes, what do? I mean, it's if you can avoid having to deal with that kind of a nasty situation by maybe not getting that Starbucks every day, it just makes so much sense. It does take a lot of stress out of your life. So, Frank, spending less than what you earn is the first step, right?
Right, because then you always have money.
All right. Now, let me ask you this. A lot of people say, well, why don't I just earn more?
If we could all just earn more, we would. Sure, I'll go out and earn an extra 50,000 a year. Okay. Where, how, what? But because you don't have control over that. You have control over what you're going to spend. And so even in a business, it's far easier for a business to control its costs than it is to just get more sales. If they could just get more sales, they'd get them, because that's everybody wants more sales. And it's the same with people. Everybody wants more income, but if your job pays $120,000 a year, how are you going to get 180 for the same job? Maybe over time, you have to go get an advanced degree. You have to go get some training certificates. Okay, then that's a way to get more income. But the easy way is just not to spend, because that you have control over every day.
Plus, I mean, I know guys, and I'm sure you do too, or people, because I know women and guys that they make a ton of money and they're still wildly in debt. That it's like the more they make, the more they spend. So I think you're right. It makes sense to form the good habits sooner rather than later.
There is no amount of money you cannot spend. Look at the NBA, National Basketball Association. What do we always hear about these guys? They made, 50, 60, 70 million dollars over their playing career, and now they're broke because they spent it all.
Except like Kawhi Leonard plays for the Clippers right now. he's still driving the same 1994 SUV that he did, I think, in high school, because it runs, it's great, he likes it. Why would he bother to pay more?
Right. Or Rob Gronkowski, who they claim has never spent a single dime of the money he's been paid to play football. He lives off his endorsement money. Now, granted, he probably makes pretty good endorsement money, but he could have extra houses. He could have that. He could afford to buy that, $1.2 million Bugatti if he wanted to. But why? I learned a lesson a long time ago when I was commuting in LA, and I literally had the most horrible looking 1963 Volkswagen you could ever imagine. And I remember one day I was on the 110 freeway and I was parked there next to a Rolls Royce in traffic. They weren't moving, I wasn't moving. And I was thinking, you've got, maybe at that time a Rolls Royce was $100,000. So you've got a $100,000 car and you can't go any faster or any further or anything else right now than I can in my $500 Volkswagen. It's like, now I'm not saying everybody should go out and get a Volkswagen that, that you can see the street through the floorboards with, but why do you need $100,000 car or $200,000 car or $300,000 car? It's not going to get you any place any quicker than anything else. Now, if you make 10 million a year, sure, buy a $300,000 car. That's good, but maybe not a whole fleet. So yeah, you can always spend the money. And it's what people forget is that once it's spent, it's gone. And if you buy something that requires annual maintenance, now all of a sudden you've got all these fees. And it's like, a lot of these rich sports people go out and buy these houses and they forget about, shoot, I'm going to have a $20,000 tax bill every year. And I've got to have gardeners and I've got to have maids and I've got to pay utilities. So all of a sudden it's $50,000, $60,000 a year to maintain these houses they have. And that adds up, especially when you're not making a few million a year. So you said that the ones that realize early on that maybe this money's not going to last forever, or maybe I'm not going to want to do this forever, and I should save now. So it gives me the opportunity to make that decision in the future, are the happier people in the long run.
Well, you mentioned this earlier. You need to take a look at what you need rather than just what you want. And it's again like this old 1994 SUV that meets Kawhi Leonard's needs. It's like Warren Buffett, the gazillionaire. He's still living in the house he bought in the 50s. It's not a huge place, but it's all he needs. So it's forming, I guess it's I think you touched on it, forming those good habits.
Right. I walked around the neighborhood this morning with my wife and the dog, and I was amazed at how many Teslas are now showing up in our neighborhood. And it's like, those are not cheap cars. Not at all. And even worse, most of them are leased. So people are just paying money every month that just goes away. They never get anything out of it. Well, we can get into more details on that sort of thing later in future episodes, because I don't want to jump around too much in one day.
No, I'm with you. Speaking of which, though, that's I would love to hear your sort of practical tips and strategies for how you can spend less and still, enjoy your life, and or just get out of the habit of spending, like treating yourself to that Starbucks you deserve. It would be great to get some tips and some strategies. So maybe you could do that in the next video.
Sure. We'll go through every step of people's lives financially as we go down this journey. We'll talk about investments in the future, why it's important to start young, and try to give people the tools they need to be financially independent, so that the big investment firms will want to talk to them in another 20, 30 years, versus now they don't want to talk to them at all.
There you go. Well, that sounds good. I guess that's it for this time, and I look forward to hearing what you have to say.
Great. Thanks, Bill. We will talk again soon.
You got it, Frank.